Hi, everybody. I'm Rick DiClemente. Welcome to Astrology Unplugged here on starself.com. We do this live, and then after the show, about 9:30, 9:30 or so, I put this up on YouTube. So in case you missed any of these, they are on in order on YouTube. This is episode number 335, in case you are keeping track. Okay, as you know, we've been going back and forth between astrology and spiritual matters. And tonight we're going back to astrology because I let you go for a while, but then I feel a need to keep my eye on your chart just to see if something is happening. So we're going back to charts tonight in the order that you signed on today. Now, I wanted to point out something first because I know Rick and I are aware of it, and probably Claudia too. But I want to show you something that's going on that's really, really important in the United States chart. Take a look at this. Let me see if I can get this up here. No. Too many buttons to push. Here we go. Okay. Now, this is a very big time major deal. Okay. Let me show you why. All right. This is a US chart in 1776. And as you know, back then there was no Pluto, there was no Eris, there was no Neptune, and there was no Uranus, and there was no Chiron. So things are really different. And as of 1930, Pluto was added to this chart. So what do you say about pre-1930? The United States is born with Pluto, but it's also not born with Pluto. That's how you look at these things. But what's intriguing is you can look at a natal Mercury, which is retrograde, and it's in the sign of Cancer, and it's not a real strong Mercury. And then all of a sudden, 1930 onward, you've got Pluto opposite. That changes the Mercury intensely. And that makes it like in the eighth house, because it's Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. Well, what's intriguing about that is right now, as Pluto is going back and forth, transiting Pluto is going back and forth. That's one story, but the big story is Eris. Eris is just sitting here at 24 degrees at a right angle to Mercury. It's going to be there for the next 20 years. This is why things are difficult now. Pluto is squaring the Mercury, and the Mercury is in the eighth house. So when your Mercury is being squared, you have a natal Mercury, which is in Cancer, which is a rather lighthearted, intuitive Cancer, intuitive Mercury. But when Pluto's hitting it, as it has been for, not Pluto, Eris, Eris has been hitting it. Pluto's also been hitting it, but both of them have been hitting it the last several years. This is one of the reasons that the USA is going through a lot of stress. The stress is mental. The stress is psychological because Mercury's being hit. We've got 20 more years of this. And we do not need to look at this like, oh my, 20 more years. That's not how we look at it. We look at it like our power's here, our mind is getting deeper, our mind is getting stronger. Now, what's happening when you've been around for a long time? You start to see this. You start to see people that can handle this transit and people that can't. Simple. The people that can handle the Pluto changing of Mercury and people that can't. What we think Pluto does to Mercury, it makes it deeper, it makes it more research oriented, more psychological, more into the archetypes, deeper into all the different facets of the mind. And other people can't handle it. What do you do when something's happened to you mentally that you can't handle? You project on everybody else that they're stupid. That's what you do. So that's what you got going on now. You got people making tremendous advances mentally, psychologically, and other people who are blaming them for having done so. It's called being woke. You could call it being woke. Anyhow, I want to point it out to you. I think it's a great transit. I think it's not a great transit if you're not ready for it. But what's happening is we're getting to deeper levels of our mind. Period. We're being introduced, we're ready to think along the terms of deeper levels in our mind. This has been going on 4 or 5 years. We got 20 more years. So this is a real big deal. This is the background transit that's happening to everybody. Now, if you look at the United States chart, you would want to look at what houses are ruled by Mercury, and that would tell you more, and you would get more information from that. But Mercury is how you communicate with people. It's how you learn, how you communicate. So also the field of communications is going to really, really change. So I'm going to have a lot more to say about this because I decided I am going to do a show completely on the decay of the GOP, which is what I told you what happened, and we're in the midst of it, and they're pulling everybody down with them. And it needs to be talked about and exposed, and I will. Okay. I'm not saying the Democrats are great, but I'm saying they're a lot better than GOP. We're going to start with the order that people came in. I want to look at your charts. I don't have any control over this. It just happens that people line up the way they do. And I will look at different parts of the chart. Just so happened, Susan was our first one for tonight. So we're going to pop her chart up here and take a look at it. And I'm going to pause for a moment. Okay, back to Susan now. All right. All right. Trying to get there. Okay, so like I said, the main thing in everybody's chart, no matter who you are, no matter what you have in your chart, is the 24th degree of Capricorn, 24 degrees of Libra, 24 degrees of Aries, 24 degrees of Cancer. That's where the Grand Cross is. That's where the Cardinal Cross is. That's happening at the 24th degree. And since this is going on with Mercury and is pounding away at it for the next 20 years, I would suggest to you to take a good long look at what's happening in your chart at that area. So we notice that it's really close to Chiron in her 12th house, 2 degrees away, 3 degrees away from the Neptune, 3 degrees away from Uranus. So right away, what I can see here is the Chiron and the Uranus are really being hit very hard. Neptune, because it's a point of a T-square, and Chiron, I have noticed clearly, and I have Chiron at 10 degrees or 6 degrees myself. I have Chiron in the 12th house in Capricorn, and I have noticed clearly people with Chiron in Capricorn, and they would be born around 50, 51, 52, around that time period. People that were born around that time have Chiron in Capricorn. And I have noticed those people are obsessed with whatever house their Chiron is in. I know I'm obsessed with my 12th house. I've seen other people's second house, other people's fourth house, and believe me, they're obsessed with what that house represents. With Susan's case, it's the 12th house, which is the house of talking to the other side. She's a medium, so it fits perfectly with her. With me, you've seen me so much, take whatever I'm dealing with and translate it in terms of talking with God. With Susan, it's very much in her own terms. I won't put words in her mouth, but it's dealing with the other side, mediumship. So that area is going to be hit really hard. And what does that mean, hit real hard? It does not mean it's going to be bothered. It means that that part's going to be strongly developed. It's going to be exercised, and it'll probably get a lot stronger. Now, also, what's interesting is the square is happening to Neptune. Well, I don't care if you're a Sag or whatever you are, when you got a Chiron square to Neptune, Chiron is all about getting yourself placed right with the other side, getting yourself in sync with the other side. Neptune is making sure it's a spiritual placement. So I don't even need to talk about anything else in this chart because that is so important in this chart. Now, what this means, once again, is the part of her that's a spiritual seeker, a spiritual personality, is square to, don't worry about the square. Don't lose your mind in these books when it says it's square. Oh, it's opposite. Don't worry about it. They're connected. Square is a little bit more troublesome than oppositions, yes. But don't get all freaked out about it. That's the trouble with beginning books. What this means is no matter what Susan is doing in her trailer with her two dogs in Virginia, and she's still managing to tune into this show, what's really going on with Susan is she's continuing to develop her psyche along spiritual lines. Period. There's nothing she can do about this except try to repress it. Now, when God comes to you, let me use these phrases. When God comes to you, Susan, and takes your culvert, you got this culvert connecting you to the heavens, and takes your culvert and makes it go, whoa. What do you think's going to happen to you? Your channel's getting bigger. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, if you're real deluded, which some Sages can be, and you're not, if you're real deluded and deluding others, then you're in a lot of trouble. And you're probably going to delude yourself more, delude others, and they're probably going to get on to you. But that's not your case. So in your case, from everything we know, it's a marvelous time for you to be effortlessly. Neptune is effortlessly allowing your culvert to get bigger between you and whatever you call your God. That means the channel, and that certainly means more open, easy intuition, including your artwork. Now, let's hear a response from you about that.
It makes sense. Of course, I've been doing readings for a long time. They tend to be shifting more toward the spiritual progress of the individual.
Exactly.
Not my choice, but it's just what keeps coming up.
What I'm telling you, this ain't got nothing to do with who you're reading for. It's
right
about you, the instrument.
Well, I mean, I pray that you use the word culvert. I use the word conduit, but that isn't exactly
same thing exactly
when I prepare for a reading. So yes, and my artwork has taken a new turn recently. I'm now offering pet portraits with connections to your pets in spirit, and up a reading that goes from your pets to you along with the portrait. So
Oh,
And that seems to be working out nicely as well.
very
Oh,
good. Very good. Very good. Um, Now the big thing here to remember is this. This is a hard thing to put in verbal language. When a major planet hits you like this, it's kind of like you went to sleep and got back up in the next morning and somebody changed your telephone. It's kind of like what it is. And the telephone's got great big wires in it that are communicating big and clear. That's what it's like. Some people will try to turn it off because they're shocked and stunned by it, and their religion has repressed it. Oh no, it's the devil got it in my house. But other people who are smart and accurate and experienced like you have the positive side to look forward to. So I think it's a wonderful thing. And I will remind you of one thing. When you have a Neptune like this, whenever you get in any kind of trouble, just let it go. That's how you deal with Neptune. You surrender and let it have control. Period. Now, do you have any follow-up questions about that? You are muted.
thank you. Are you saying that if I had trouble in other areas of life to turn that
There is
over?
no other area of life.
Okay.
Any and all areas of life. If you have any difficulty with any and all areas of life, give it to the spirit, because all your trouble that you could possibly have is by identifying with the non-Susan.
Right.
And then there we know that there is no non-Susan, that the only Susan that's really real is the one who's connected to a Holy
Right.
Spirit. Okay?
Understood.
Susan, I think this is really good. Congratulations, dear.
Thank you.
This is really good. Jane, you are next from down under. Let's get you unmuted. These boxes keep moving around on my screen. Let's get you unmuted. And I will pause this. Okay, so now we're back with Jane. Welcome on board. There's so many buttons to push. Let me get them done right before I end up throwing everybody off. Here we go. One more button. How you feeling, Jane?
I'm good. I just realized I had my full name with with my counselor. Anyway, I'm just
Yeah,
going to
that's
change.
why I took it off. Okay. Now we can see automatically on your chart that we've not spent a lot of time on your chart, but we can see that your moon is really, really powerful. And so is Chiron, because they're both on the ascendant 13, 14, 15. That's major, major, major. So that gives you a lot of lunar activity, a lot of Cancerian energy. Even though you're in Aries, you're wrapped up very strongly with lots of emotion and Cancerian energy, lunar activity. We also see that Neptune is really powerful in the chart. So we see very much like Susan, Neptune is very strong, and that's what calls you. Neptune is what calls you. That's not an Aries quality. It is with people like Ramdas and some certain Aries, but Aries are not specifically spiritual people. They're usually down here in the weeds with the machete, chopping the weeds and digging out their own path. But with a strong, strong Neptune, you're a completely different person. Now that we're looking at this particular degree tonight, which is the 24th degree of Aries, 24th degree of Libra, 24th degree of Capricorn, and 24 here. It's not hitting anything. So, what are we looking at then? We're looking at what is Neptune doing? What is Neptune doing about the 26th degree? Neptune is hitting Jupiter. Okay, this is very, very strong. Now, what does this mean? Neptune's sitting about 26 now. It's right opposite your Jupiter in Virgo. Let me tell you what that means. And I think this is very good. When a person has Jupiter in Virgo, I never know the right words to use, so I always use the same ones. I got a van and I'm stopping over with my van and all my friends, and we're swinging the door open and we're saying, "Jump in, Jane." And you're going to do according to what your Jupiter says. If your Jupiter's in Aries like mine, you're just going to jump in, and 10 miles down the road, you're going to say, "Where are we going?" If your Jupiter's in Virgo, well, you're going to have the Excel spreadsheet all filled out, and you're supposed to be here 3:01, and it's 3:02, and we got to get all these things right, and we're going to stop and make these plans and all these things. That's what Jupiter in Virgo does. You're not, even though you're the Aries, I'm more Aries than you are when it comes to getting in that bus.
True.
So, what was that?
I said true.
Okay. Jupiter in Virgo is highly planned, highly controlled. All right. There's nothing wrong with it. But now Neptune's sitting opposite. Neptune is the opposite of Virgo. It's opposite your Jupiter in Virgo. So what it's going to start doing, it already has been, it's going to start saying to you, let it go. Don't plan it. Just let it go. Don't plan it. Just let it go. It'll be okay. And the Virgo goes, are you sure? Are you sure you're doing it right? And then Neptune just says, let it go. Just let it go. Have a drink, sit back, and let it go. Do you feel that?
Oh, I so do. I do.
Okay.
It's incredible.
And what's really good about this, we got a cat going crazy? Well, that's all right. What's good about this, well, beside our cat going, our Aries cat's going crazy. What's good about this, and I'm going to keep losing my train of thought, is it's happening effortlessly. See, Virgo's plan is not to mess you up. Virgo's plan is to make sure that you're always ready to fix everything. Well, sometimes there's nothing wrong. You don't have to fix anything. And so what you're going to find from this opposition, especially in your 8th house, you're going to find that all these little picky things, picayune, isn't that a great word? Picayune. Pick all these little picayune things that used to disturb you all your life about little relationship things, all the little picayune things that would drive you a little bit crazy, they're going to start evaporating. That's what Neptune does. Neptune says, just let it be. It'll be okay. It's okay the way it is. Now, what's good about these things happen very naturally. The Jupiter in Virgo is still going to be there for you in the future when you have to make a shopping list, etc. You're going to be very good at it, but you must admit that it's been on your back too much and it needs to go away. Also, when your Jupiter in Virgo gets hit, you may start to find, very well may find, a lot of relief in your intestinal area. If you've had any difficult intestinally, stomach-wise, that, by the way, I think the number one illness in astrology is intestinal, stomach, etc., because it has to do with Virgo and energy being controlled. So Aries itself is not a controller, but Jupiter in Virgo is a controller. I'm going to come, but let me get all my bags packed exactly right. Now you're going to throw this stuff in the bag and let's go. Is this making sense?
Oh, far out. It so does. And that whole intestinal thing, I remember you talking about that in my chart, and you had actually said to me that you're actually having all these problems at the moment, but they're going to stop. And not long after you said that, it all stopped.
Right.
And I didn't realize what it was connected to. So that's really important. But also, honestly, Rick, that whole bit about letting go and that sense that I'm in this different headspace and heart space, and
That's
just and I keep just getting, okay, come on, just let it go, surrender.
Well, inside of us, I don't know how it works. There seems to be a governor inside of us. Maybe it sits in the crown chakra. I don't know, but it kind of keeps an eye on all of our whole being spiritually. And it kind of knows when you need to get more tense, when you need to get more untense, and all these things. And it kind of knows when the Neptune part of you needs to speak up and when the Neptune or the Virgo part needs to go down. Now, the Virgo part comes into our life through my research with past life. The Virgo part comes into our life because we feel that we messed up in our past life by being too loosey-goosey. And we feel guilty about it. So we come into our life putting extra pressure on ourselves. And what I'm finding more and more now, as we evolve as a species, more and more of us are starting to just loosen up. And we're of the mindset that we think if we loosen up, things are going to get bad and we're going to screw something up. But our nature is loving. Our very nature is loving and giving, and we're not going to screw anything up. And if we pick up a child, we're probably going to give it a kiss. Our nature is loving. So that's why Neptune has to learn, and it learns by little, step by step by step. It starts to learn to just let go.
Yeah.
Now, Neptune's problematic if it goes so far that you're getting on drugs and you're an alcoholic and you don't give a darn about anything. You just give up on life. Now, that's a Neptune that's gone awry. That's not your case. So that's what you're in store for a good while now, is this continued letting go. This is a wonderful time, Rick would tell you. It's a wonderful time for you to take up or continue your meditation. Any spiritual practice at all, just keep it up.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep it up and go with it. But one thing I wanted to tell you, can I skip you, please? Yes, I can. No problem. One thing I want to tell you, everybody, is this. You're not controlling this stuff, all of you. We're not in control. It's just happening. I'll go into that much later. It's just happening. Like the skier that comes down the mountain, they slap a microphone in his face. You barely breathe. How'd that happen? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. I just surrendered to the course and it just happened. What do you mean you surrendered to the course? I just let it be. I just let it happen. That's a big deal. And the end of last week's discussion, the man in the cave, the man in the closet, Sean came out and started talking gobbledygook at first, which is very Piscean. But then what did he say? He says, I don't know. I just let it happen. The Pisces is ruled by Neptune. I just let it happen. And the wisdom that's there is very deep and powerful. And of all of us, Sean has a tremendous amount of wisdom that comes from being a Pisces sun. Okay? Okay, that looks like okay to me. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Kathy, do you want to appear? You want to not appear? I know you're.
Yeah, but I can appear.
Oh, there you are. It's so nice to see you.
Yeah.
Kathy's had some physical issues. It's good to have her back. It's good to see you once again. Let me get your chart on the screen. Back on the screen. Okay, Kathy. All right. So we're looking at Kathy. We want to go directly to where the action is. 24 here. Look at the Mars. Okay, I'm not going any further. I'm stopping right there. I'm looking at Mars, and Venus is at 17, and this is 23. So all four of your angles, 1, 2, 3, 4 of your angles are completely tied up by Mars, and that's where Eris is sitting.
Right.
Now, I'm going to tell you what this means, and this is very intriguing because I work a lot with Virgos, okay? If anybody sees that recording dot in the upper left corner, if it ain't blinking, let me know. Okay? You got me, Claudia? Okay. This is very simple. It's very difficult and unnatural for Virgo people to allow themselves to be assertive. It's unnatural for them. And I spent a lot of time studying and talking to Virgo. Why is that? Virgo's nature is to obey the goddess. That's what the Virgin is about. It's not sexual. It's about, I want to do what I should do. And it's a beautiful quality. And it's what made me in the book turn Virgo from perfectionist into Virgo the caring and Virgo the pure. Virgos are very upset and feel abnormal if they're not doing what they should do.
Right.
And that's a very weird thing to think about. Well, what does it mean what you should do? That's someone else's opinion. That's all it means. But what it is a drive from the source of purity for you to pick it up and to stay pure, for you to get a job and to appreciate it, for you to get food and appreciate it, for you to get a nice complexion and appreciate it. And it's very Virgoan to keep your mouth shut when you see so many people all around you that don't appreciate what they got. Drives Virgos nuts. But we don't have what you have. So, in all this time, this reading tonight might be the most important of all of them because it's right on your Mars and it's right on all four angles at the same time. When your Mars is being hit, what that means is it's okay for you to turn your gas pedal on. You don't have to check with the UN. Just go. But when you just go, the part of you that obeys is threatened. This is a big deal. It's a big deal. The part of you that just lets go and I'm going to do what I'm going to do is threatened because it thinks it's getting out of whack with this. Am I in touch with what I should do? And I've worked an awful lot the last many years with Virgo people. And Virgos I've seen, because they stay pure enough and because it starts with having to love yourself and starting to trust yourself. To love yourself and to trust yourself. And I know you, not real well, but I know you enough that I've seen a lot of progress in you in the last 5 years. An awful lot of progress. So I'm here to say that one reason the stroke happened, and I might be wrong, but one reason the stroke happened is because you stopped your energy. Energy was trying to move from here to there, and you sat on it, stuffed it. That's my opinion. I could be totally wrong. There's no judgment involved. But what we're going to see with you is the opposite now. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. Now, one of the keys to Virgo energy, when you see somebody screwing up, you need to just let them screw up. You're not not going to bring the universe down.
Right.
Let them screw up. It's their karma. You worry about your own self.
Right.
And that means if people around you screw up, you wish them the best. You're going to be non-judgmental and you return to yourself. But your chart is in a matter of, your chart is saying this right now. You're either going to move or you ain't going to move. That's what your chart is saying. We're talking movement or no movement.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mars is getting hit. And Mars is saying, I want to take it to the garage and get this gas pedal fixed. I want it fixed so that when I push it, it's going to go. Sometimes you got to go. Sometimes somebody pulls in front of you. Sometimes you need to go real fast. Get out of the way. So your goer is what needs examined. Your goer, your gas pedal is what needs examined. And with this, all four angles hitting Mars at the same time with the Eris, and Eris has a wild side. You know, I'm going to go no matter what. So you got to watch. Eris will get crazy on you, like we see happening all over. So you're not crazy energy. You need to use your energy wisely, and you're not going to go from rather stagnant to really active real quickly. It's going to take you steps. It's going to take steps, just like coming out of the stroke. But I think that that's really the key here. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, because I have no other choice right now. It's really forcing me to understand that the little bitty gains I make every day add up to being able to walk again. So I'm really having to demonstrate that daily to myself.
Well, you sound like you're really doing well. And can you see how in the past you were not allowing that forward movement because
Yes.
of other reasons? Doesn't matter what they are, because of
Right.
other reasons, because you're obeying other reasons. They got you to this point where your energy just couldn't move. That's that simple.
Yeah.
But this is a very good sign now. It's a very
Yeah.
good sign. It's also a sign that if you get to a crossroads of put the brakes on or hit the gas, what do you think you're going to do?
My temptation is going to be to hit the gas.
That's exactly right.
That's what I'm doing here.
Wait, and do you think you're going to hit a truck? No. If you hit the brakes, the odds are very much that the truck will hit you.
Right. Right.
That's how the planets work.
Yeah.
That's how the planets work. Now, you don't have a nutso Mars. It's not crazy, but it is on the angle. It is on the angle. So the Mars is very, very, very strong in your chart, but it needs to be unleashed. Unleashed. And one of the things you have to do, and this is not easy, you have to stop any sense of explaining to other people why you hit your gas pedal.
Oh.
Don't do it.
Oh.
Right, Rick? You gotta explain to anybody. I know you're not going to run over people. I trust you. But this whole thing of explaining and defending is really more arguments with yourself. So when you got to hit the gas and feel the air go by and enjoy it.
Let my hair blow behind me.
I know it's kind of scary, isn't it?
Oh no, I think I'm ready. Yay me.
Well, we're very proud of you. Very happy. Very good
Thank you.
job. But thank you, Kathy. Very good.
Thank
Thank you. Back, we're going to read for Linda P. Oh, Libra is such a intriguing sign. It really is. Here we go. Okay, Linda, let's get to your chart. Okay, let's zoom on in. All these things come up in my way on the screen. let's look about 24 Libra, 24 Aries, 24 Capricorn, nothing there. So you're not getting hit by the biggies. So that's good. So we go to Neptune, and Neptune at 26 of Pisces. 26 is not doing much. And you go to Uranus about 23 of Taurus. 23 of Taurus is here, right opposite that moon. So Uranus is opposite that moon. I think that's a pretty good candidate. Let's talk about Uranus being in this area opposing your moon. Okay. Now you're a pretty good astrology student. What do you think transiting Uranus, let's keep it simple for newbies, transiting Uranus is in Taurus. It's been there about 6 years. It's opposing your moon, which is right by your ascendant in Scorpio. So what do you think transiting Uranus, your transiting Uranus, is trying to say to your natal moon in Scorpio?
You know, I'm going to blow up your feelings. I mean, that's the
Okay. All
thing
right.
that comes
Very
in.
good. Very good. Now, why would I'm gonna come along and say, now why would you do that to Linda?
Well,
That's
you
what
know,
he's gonna do, but it's natural to say, but why would you do that to this nice lady?
well, because because I have a lot of them on the shelf in a box in the closet with a big bow on the top put away.
Oh, and I bet that whole box is even vibrating like, oh. But it's in a box in the closet. It's got a little bow on there. Nothing can disturb it, not even Uranus.
I'm very peaceful. I'm very chill. I
Ah,
don't. I'm serious. 'Cause
Shelby, you hear what she's saying to you. She says she's peaceful and chill, and Uranus is sitting on her moon. Try that again. What is Uranus doing to your moon?
Well, I mean, obvious. I'm not saying it's happening inside me, but I'm saying what's supposed to be happening is this thing where it's blowing up. You know, I don't know.
I want you to, this is not easy. I want you to explain to me this phrase of Uranus blowing up your moon. What does that mean?
Well, okay.
Uranus's job is
I
not
have
to blow up stuff,
the moon, my moon is in the first house.
right?
It's almost sitting on the ascendant. It's
Right.
and it's in Scorpio. Hello.
Right.
Along with the ascendant. And so, you know, I have the capacity for exceptionally deep emotion.
Right.
Exceptionally deep emotion.
That's correct.
You know, but right now I got it in a box in the closet with a bow on it, put away.
Linda, you think you have it in a box in the closet. Okay? Your moon is not in a box in a closet. Not when Uranus is sniffing around that box. Okay? Let's take a look here. We're going to keep it that simple. Uranus opposite the moon. All right. What do you think the moon in Scorpio means?
She
Well,
said it.
Go ahead.
You said capacity for deep emotions.
Yeah,
That's correct.
that's it.
That's correct. All right. What else is it? What else is it?
Intensity,
Yes.
maybe some secrecy.
That's true. That's true.
Um, passion.
How about fixedness?
Oh, I never thought of that.
What does fixedness mean? What does fixedness mean to a natal moon in Scorpio? Take your time. This is not a test. This is how we all
I
learn.
mean, fixedness could mean, you know, when I feel something, I feel it and I don't move off of it.
Exactly.
You know, I
Exactly.
mean, it's
When
like
I love it, I love it. When I hate it, I hate it. Get it out of here.
And if I
That's Moon
and
in
if I
Scorpio.
don't like and if I'm done with somebody, I'm like really done.
That's
I mean, when I'm done with
that-
somebody, like I'm really done.
that's not a Libra quality.
No, it's not.
That's a Moon in Scorpio quality.
Yeah.
So one of the main things about Moon in Scorpio is its ability to stay fixed. It's opposite Taurus, and all your planets are always a lot like what's opposite you. And Taurus is about digging a hole. Damn it, I'm in the hole, I ain't coming out. Did you know this?
No.
Oh, by the way, did you know one of the reasons hyenas are so hard to defeat is when they're attacked, they dig a hole so they can put their butt in the hole.
Ah.
And that's why they're so vicious on their front end with their teeth and their claws that when they're attacked, they just rotate.
Well, I just have to tell you, nobody ever attacks me because it's not a good idea.
Well,
People
I'm
already
telling you,
know that.
this is an intriguing quality because I know no other animal that does this, and it's really brilliant. You know, and now you see how the Taurus qualities are really helping the hyena. Okay, in your case, I know your Libras don't want this real heavy duty fixedness to be around because it's not Libra ladylike, but it's there. Okay, what you say? There ain't no box, and somebody took your ribbon long ago and took it off about 7 years ago when Uranus started this, and now Uranus is playing with your moon to do what?
Get out of the hole.
Oh, it's saying you can stay wherever you want to stay. You can stay wherever you want to stay. All you need to know is that you're trying to get your moon to be more flexible. Because maybe someday you start to hate somebody and you start to go, well, they're not so bad, or vice versa. See, the Uranus is trying to loosen up that moon. Uranus is known for being very, very complimentary and tolerant. It doesn't love hate people. That's a Scorpio quality. But it's flexible. It allows you to flex. Uranus' job is not to blow you up. Uranus' job is to make it better so Linda can be freer.
Okay, let me just say this makes perfect sense because right now my best friend is living with me and it's driving me insane because I'm used to living by myself.
Sure.
And she's all over my boundaries. I mean,
And
she's
what
like
sign is she?
everything out.
What sign is she?
Oh, she's a Libra. And she's extremely pleasant and she's extremely helpful and she's extremely kind and she likes to cook for me and do things for me. And I really hate
And the
it.
question is, how real is she?
Oh, she's real.
Oh, this whole thing of being so ultra pleasant all the time is really real.
Well, I mean, that's just the part of her that's like trying to do nice things for me. She wants
That's
to
not an answer to my question.
I mean,
My question is she real?
yes. Or she wouldn't be my friend.
Well, okay, I'm going to get off of that before I get in trouble.
Can I throw one thing in?
Yeah.
Uranus is also known as the awakener. So you may find with that seventh house placement, a little bit of awakening within you, some new emphasis in your counseling and the way you observe people and teach them to interact with one another as far as emotionally deep subjects. Just a thought.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
already
good thought.
that's been going on. I mean,
What happens is this, where you saw the Capricorn before with other people, and you saw the Virgo-ness get upset because its rigidity was being threatened, your ultra pleasantness for all people is being threatened. And the Libra ultra pleasantness is not realistic. It's realistic most of the time for most Libras, most of the time. But when Uranus is there, it ain't realistic. Because Uranus wants what? It doesn't want you to be a wild woman, but it wants you to be free. It doesn't want you repressing yourself because it's not nice.
And authentic. Really authentic.
Exactly, Claudia. Exactly. Exactly. It's your moon, it's your Uranus, it's your first and seventh house. And why do you think a Libra has been sent to you to drive you nuts?
And the Libra also tries to mirror other people.
Exactly.
Maybe you're trying to take the mirror out of their hands and awaken them to their own uniqueness.
Exactly.
I mean, that's, you know, that's all going on, you know, but it's just internally, it's just very hard for me to have people in my space.
Well, it's not easy for anybody, but I suggest to you, this has nothing to do with her. You need to take a look at how much do you allow yourself emotional flexibility. That's what Uranus does. It's not here to blow you up. Uranus gives you elbow room. Okay, we're going to move on.
Thank you. It was good.
That makes sense to you?
Oh, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that using terms like blow it up is not going to serve you well. So I would use another term. Uranus is trying to liberate you, to liberate your feelings. And you know, Scorpio planets can use liberation because they can be really rigid. They really can be. Okay, well,
And they need their alone time.
that's exactly right. Hold on now. Right back. Okay. Okay, now to our other Rick. All right, we're going to go to your chart. All right. All right. Now, you see what I'm doing tonight is I'm putting ultra focus on 24 degrees cardinal, which is close to Mars, nothing opposite, nothing square. So we have a little bit of, this is close enough, I would say, 3 degrees. So Mars and Libra in the third. This is one really good reason about reading charts like this is because you take things apart. He's got Mars in Libra in the third house. Renate is here. Okay. What do you think Mars and Libra in the third house means?
Well, since Aries is on my ninth, I'm looking at the expression for publishing and working on books to be put together. That's what I'm really working hard to launch and get more writing done.
How does your mind work?
It's very polite.
That equates with Mars and Libra.
I see a lot of how people think, and I seek to communicate so they absorb information.
So you are very Libran-like in your mental operation, which is very non-Leo-like. It's very Libra-like, which is very polite. The first word you said, it's balanced and it's polite, etc. Now,
I think insightful too. Libras get certain things about others.
yeah, they're very insightful. Okay, now, this has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Pluto and Eris are both hitting your Mars. I know a lot about this particular combination. What do you think Pluto and Eris are doing to your Mars?
I think they're transforming potential into actuality.
Which means what?
So I've been kicking the ideas around for decades, putting pockets of information in different places, and now I'm getting it started that I'm taking all the information and putting it together in chunks so that I'm going to start publishing eventually multiple books at a time.
Okay, let's not talk about books.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about the books are fine for another discussion.
Okay.
The third house is the way your mind works. It's the way you think, which is much more primary than before it gets to a book.
I
The
am
way
over.
your mind
Yeah.
works, it's the way you think, it's the way you talk. What does
So
Pluto do to that?
Pluto is definitely creating a transformation that I'm willing to set aside being polite in order to go ahead and get started in that cardinal way with my own projects first and putting myself higher on the priority
All
list.
right. Well, okay. To me, you hit it exactly on the head. But let's get rid of this word about projects.
Well, I'm a doer.
You're the project. You're the Mars. What is your
Right.
Mars changing into?
It's getting less others focused and more of my personally focused.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I gotta say this. I want to say that.
Right.
Now I don't want to say it and rip your head off. You know,
Mhm.
which you can do with Pluto and Eris. It can be very crude, it can be very heavy-handed, yes. But I want to feel like I can be more direct with what I'm saying. And there's no doubt about this. The more you suppress that Mars, the more distorted it will come out.
Right.
When Eris and Pluto are on it. All that
Yeah.
means is I'm gonna be less cautious about holding that Mars back.
Mhm.
You're already very polite, and there's every reason to believe that if you start letting that Mars out more, that you'll be okay.
Oh yeah. And I really don't care if other people don't like it.
Well, that's a very good attitude to have when Pluto's on you.
Yeah.
It's a really good one. Because what is Pluto and Eris trying to do to the Mars? And this is an education for all of us about what's going on planet wide now. Pluto and Eris
Pluto
are
is
trying to do what to your Mars?
transform it into having something an intention that is more fair for everyone, including me. It doesn't exclude me.
Exactly. Exactly. Not this Christian way. I can't do anything for myself. It's got to
Right.
be all for you. You're exactly right.
Right.
I'm not leaving myself in the corner.
Right.
I'm just as important as you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it's about. Now, a lot of people who've been repressed, it's coming out very distorted. And you're seeing all these Karens in the news fighting the police, and you're seeing all this junk. That's why they're fighting. They're fighting against their past repression, not the policeman. So, what this is meaning for you is more directness so I can speak more honestly. Eris can't stand dishonesty. You think Jupiter's something. Eris can't stand it. What you got to say it. Now, you've got enough stuff in the chart to keep it still mellow.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm not concerned about it.
I'm just bringing a deeper authenticity into clarity.
Yeah. Yeah. And what this means is, it means I'm saying it to you once. If you didn't get it, I'm going to say it a second time. And the second time is not going to be as pretty. That's what it means.
And I actually got willing to cut people out.
And what does that cause for you?
Peace of mind.
Exactly. 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 Yeah. You got it right on. And this is going back and forth for a long time. So you have a lot of time. And these same qualities will come out in your writing.
Mm-hmm.
Because in your writing, for people that haven't written the book, when you write a book, you have thousands of decisions to make every day. So this word, that word, this word, that word. I mean, it's unbelievable how many decisions you got to make, and you thought you were just talking.
Right.
So I think you're going to do very well. I like this very much. Thank you very much, Rick. That was good.
Most appreciated.
Yes, sir. We're going to go to Erica in just a second. Here we go. Now we're with Erica. Okay, Erica, we see your Taurus chart with a very strong Neptune. And we look at the 24th degree. We look at the 5 degrees away here, and nothing's going on here, and nothing's going on here. So it's not really activating these 4 areas very much because it's down in here. So let's shift to your Neptune, the 26th of Pisces. And the 26 Pisces is here, and it's not doing much. So let's go to the 23rd degree of Taurus. So it's up here, and it's hitting Jupiter. So that's an intriguing one. You got Uranus going on in your second house, in your 8th house, opposing Jupiter in Scorpio. Now, this is not simple. This is not easy. Jupiter in Scorpio retrograde in the second house is somebody who has a very firm view of their own self-worth. Okay? What can be very good. But when Uranus is here, and Uranus has already passed over the sun the last several years. So don't be deceived. As Uranus is going through this blank spot, it's not going through a blank area. It's going to continue to remember to help release the sun's energy. It's going to continue. Taurus have delayed reactions. As the Uranus passes by, it starts releasing stuff that it should have a couple of years ago. That's just how Uranus works with a fixed sign. So as we see Uranus going through here, it's going to continue to release the solar power of the sun, which means more creativity, more expression, etc. But the interesting play here, the real interplay that's going on here, is self-worth and worth with others. Who am I? What is my self-worth when I'm by myself? What is my self-worth when I'm with others? So this is very intriguing. And when Uranus is involved, what do you think it's doing to all the self-worth?
It's tapping you on the shoulder saying, hey,
Hey, what?
hey, where are you at? What's going on?
Come on, Claudia. She's itching to go. Claudia. Uranus is up in the 8th house, affecting the 2nd house, Jupiter.
God, that's hard.
It is
Um,
hard.
It's really hard.
Jupiter's a hard planet. The middle planets are hard.
I wonder if maybe there'll be a circumstance in her life where it will test that sense of assuredness that she may have, and which is healthy in the first place, but then comes along and maybe does a little bit of, but do you feel really that secure within yourself? Maybe it's obviously coming, maybe it's in a relationship context, maybe not, I don't know, but it's even going to bring her even more freedom to be herself even more.
Well, I think you're exactly right. And I think it's really hard to say. And the way I would put it, did you have something, Rick?
Yeah, I have a strong 8th house experience, and I would say Uranus in the 8th, it is awakening your boundaries to tolerate your partner's honoring of your individuality.
Exactly. Exactly. So
That's the light of the sun Rick's talking about, and your
you're
Jupiter self-worth.
you're exactly right. And I've not worked with Uranus in the eighth house. I've not worked with the eighth house being our self-worth except for the last 4 or 5 years. But that's what the eighth house is. And beginning astrology books will lead you astray. Second house is, how do I feel about myself? Value. How do I value myself? It's not about coins. It's not about collections. It's about, how do I value myself? And the eighth house is, how do I value us? Well, when? Well, when we're an us. What do you mean, how do you value yourself? Well, people take that for granted, but you think about it. Think what happens to you when you're in a relationship. What happens to your self-worth when you're in a relationship? That's the eighth house. So I think Rick and Claudia are exactly right. What this means in English, Erica, is I am in the midst of changing this dynamic. This dynamic needs changed. Now, I don't know if it means that when I have self-worth issues, I need to be honoring them more, or does it mean that I'm not going to let you affect our self-worth when you're involved? I don't know, but it's in that range of this dynamic that's going on. And I'll guarantee you, when you talk about it and get the right words out of your mouth, you're going to see that this issue is very present in your life right now.
I'll also say responsibility and shared responsibilities and shared power
That's right.
are very much a part of that.
Wow.
And with the eighth house placements, we tend to take on more responsibility that is our due.
Mhm.
And we need to go ahead and make sure others are meeting us at that same level of commitment. Don't let them get away with dumping on you.
I think it makes a lot of sense. Erica, what do you think?
Well, I'm getting an opportunity to work with people on a much more intimate level than I ever have before, you know, since it went into my eighth house. And, you know, I really, with my Jupiter there in the second house retrograde, I always thought, you know, I wasn't likable and just assumed that people didn't like me. I was always kind of the outsider. I was the, you know, I kind of did my own thing and I didn't really try to join groups or, you know, play that game. I had more men friends, male friends than women friends growing up. And over time, you know, I've just developed where I've appreciated women friends. I've enjoyed it, you know, joining groups. You know, I'm like very particular about what groups I join. I've got like very fixed ideas of what's right and what's wrong with that. Saturn and Moon and Pluto all in Leo in my 10th house. It's like, this is the right way. Everybody has to be like this. This is the truth. And if everybody did this, the world would work. And I've had to like open myself up and realize not everybody feels that way. Not everybody thinks that way. It's not necessarily true. Sure, it would work. And a lot of times dictators get a lot done, but people are not very happy.
Well, that's a very common, it's a very common response from a Taurus person.
Yeah, and
Very
also
common.
I'm appreciating other people's uniqueness and also not trying to fix everything and make everything nice. It's like, okay,
Exactly.
I can do this, but you have to do this. And, you know, I'm just appreciating sort of a reality, waking up to reality. You know, I've got that Neptune in the first house. I
That
like to
Jupiter,
include myself about how nice everything is. And
see how Uranus is opening you up to how the
yeah,
cosmic,
Uranus
the
is
cosmic
opening me
mind
up
thinks.
to that. And it doesn't matter, you know, that it's not the perfect situation or that the partner or I am imperfect. It's all part of the picture because we're all unique individuals and we all have stuff to offer. So I'm really appreciating what is much more and the way
Well,
people
that
are.
transit's really involved here. That's very good. I want to point out something to you that happened to me yesterday, which was shocking. It surprised me. I was talking to a woman who was telling me that she had a really hard time speaking to groups. And I told her, you know, I've got a lot of experience at it, but it's not easy. It's just not easy. And it took a long time, and still now I get uncomfortable. And somewhere out of nowhere came to me. The next time you're talking to a group, I told her, look at the people around you. Look at the people you're talking to. Look at them in the eye and see how beautiful they are. Don't think about you. Look at them and see their beauty. Look at them and see their beauty. And you know, when you look at a people's beauty, it's oftentimes kind of like, that's not real beautiful. But then your mind goes an inch deeper and says, oh, it really is a unique beauty there. And when I did that, I realized that was really a good panacea for all of us because it gets us out of our head. Thank you very much, Erica and Rick.
Thank you,
and
Rick.
Claudia. That was
Thank
really
you both,
good.
Rick.
Yeah, really good.
And Claudia.
Eric, if I were you, I'd give that much more thought because I think there's a lot of jewels in there, especially getting off on the wrong idea that Jupiter in your second house had anything to do with you being unpopular, because that was just wrong, because Jupiter doesn't do that. Anita, you next? Anita, she may be with us. She may be not.
I am here. Yes. Hi.
Do you want me to look at your chart?
If you have time, I know you have a lot of people on there tonight.
This is the last one, yeah. Our final reading tonight will be with Anita. Okay. We talked a couple weeks ago. And next week we'll go back to spirit. Okay, Anita, the Cancer. Anita, we notice a very volatile Chiron opposite Uranus, opposite Neptune around the 24th cardinal degree. So this triangle is on fire. This triangle is on fire for a long time. So it takes a lot of understanding. Maybe we'll have to talk about this many times. What does this mean? The Chiron opposite Uranus is present with all people born from 1952 to 1989. So we all had it for 37 years. And that's the part that made our generation kind of new and fresh, exploring new ideas, alternate ways of medicine, et cetera, et cetera. Also, I've noticed with people that have this is a very good sign about astrological abilities. Now, what does it mean in terms of a battle? And the opposition is a battle. What does it mean? It means I'm trying to keep myself together here in Capricorn, but I'm also trying to be open enough to be friendly with other people. Keep myself protected, but be friendly with other people. So that can be a hell of a opposition. And what does the T-square do? The T-square says, well, when I have excess energy, I'm just going to Neptune the world. What does that mean? That means that when I have any trouble with this, I'm just going to love everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not always present with cancers. Some cancers, yes. Some people, yes. But Cancer is not an everybody sign.
Mhm.
Cancer is a myself, my family, garden sign. So what we're seeing in you is this whole concept that's pre-birth. This concept is so strong in your chart. Chiron, Uranus, Neptune is being rethunk. And that's a good word, thunk. It's being rethunk. Okay? And it doesn't even matter when the eclipse comes along, hits these points, full moons hit these points, they're going to be activated. This whole thing's going to go. But what's happening here is you're questioning what does this, and this is a really good question. What, how valid is my answer to always sacrifice myself and surrender to everybody so that everybody's okay?
Mhm.
And I suggest to you that's not always a good answer.
Not always, right?
Because I'm always having to talk people down off the cross because they always default to if I become selfless and go up on the cross, nobody's going to kick my butt and it's going to all be okay. And it's really untrue.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Now, I'm going to tell you that. Have you found it to
Well-
be true? Have you found it to be true?
Uh, I'm finding that I am in the middle of a new battle, and my bravery continues to somewhat astound me, but at the same time I do feel you know,
Here's what the problem is. Go
don't
ahead.
get anybody to do anything to me anymore.
What?
I don't know that I can be hurt anymore. I think,
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, right now, my white horse is leading me into the battle between the GOP and higher education. And I didn't expect to find myself there, but I am. And it took me to the forefront. I was a forefront speaker on Friday to the West Virginia University Board of Governors, President Gee, the provost, etc. And yeah, I don't know. It's different this time, Rick. I first of all, these are people that were my peers. But I don't work for them anymore.
What is different this time?
I don't give a shit.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to rephrase that. That is the secondary voice of Miss Eris. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that, except the fact that it ain't right. But it's getting, the feeling is appreciated. The feeling is appreciated. The problem with Neptune is this. Here's the reason people put an outlet to Neptune. It's not because they're glory filled. It's not because they're magnanimous and they just want to love everybody. They just want it to show that way so that everybody will think, oh, well, they're so selfless. We have to love them. It's a very selfish placement for Neptune. It's a very selfish placement because it's not altruistic. It's not being done altruistically. So what is looked for here, and I do think you're right on track, is a healthier use of that Neptune. That sometimes I'm going to sacrifice myself, sometimes I'm going to surrender, and it's going to be real, and it's going to work out fine. And
Right.
sometimes I'm not going to do it.
You're right.
Sometimes I'm going to decide between the two. But in the old days, you only had one choice.
You're right. Well, in the old days,
Right.
fight.
What's
Uh,
that?
In the old days, my choice was to try to stay in front of the fight.
Yeah, yeah,
And now I can stand a little bit more behind it,
that's right. That's right.
and I can be a little more calculated. I can stand when it's the right time, and I can sit when it's the right time now.
You can't sit still when it's not
No,
the
I
right time. That's because of Eris.
yeah, it's
Eris has had it with this.
I had no idea.
It's
Friday, I had
had it,
no idea that I could not sit still.
right?
I did not know that what was going to happen when I went in that meeting. I'm so happy with everything that did happen. And the roles that everyone played. But yeah, I feel
Well,
pretty
that was a major turning point for you.
Mhm.
Major. And it's probably because the lunation hit there. But the reason it was major is for the first time you're seeing your Neptune as optional.
Mhm. Right.
That's why. And that
Yeah.
gives you flexibility. You know, we got this false idea in our head that God wants us to be laying down for everybody.
The bigger person. That's what I was
Yeah, but
always.
it's just not realistic.
Oh, no, but
And
it
I'm
is
sure,
what I was
right.
my whole life.
Yeah, but see, that's turning around now.
Mhm.
You'll have more power because you're going to use it correctly, and it's going to be more real when you use it. And you're going to really be teaching people around you that they have flexibility too. Okay, everybody?
Thank you.
I hope that helps. Hope it helps. Don't know what next week's going to be, except 7 days later. We're going to shift back to spirituality. But everybody have good weekend. Travel safely. See you next time.
Thanks,
Bye. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Many blessings,
Night,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye bye.